forced awake. I know they wrapped you in the warmest chains, and I know they're so hard to break. You only said what you were made to say. I can't imagine how you feel today, now that you're watching as it caves away. While you were telling us to keep the faith, I bet you wondered why they made you wait. Ooh, I bet you wondered why they made you wait.
Pity not the vultures, they've enough to eat. Pity not the structures laying at your feet. Cannot see the sky, but there's this rainbow in the creek that spells pity-free speech when we can't afford to speak. That's Agenda 2030 on some early release. It's just our policy of never-ending chemical leaks. That's the cholera awash in your embedded beliefs. It's the billionaires who tell you what you'd better believe. And sugar, if you don't agree, then that's what we call extreme. Now if that isn't fascism, I'm going back to sleep, 'cause words have lost their meaning, and I'm trapped inside a dream where we turn the gears while living in the spaces in between.
I know you hated being forced awake. I know they wrapped you in the warmest chains, and I know they're so hard to break. You only said what you were made to say.
Poor thing.
I can't imagine how you feel today, now that you're watching as it caves away. While you were telling us to keep the faith, I bet you wondered why they made you wait. I bet you wondered why they made you wait.
My dial doesn't go to delicate. I'm writing for when Biden drops and Madam Zero delegates come stumbling up the podium, square peg in her element, popping OxyContin like they're velements, laughing as she pawns off all our pensions for Ukrainian development, depleted rounds and cluster bombs, the shit that stunts development, all buried under excrement, accepted as American intelligence. A contradiction in its eloquence. Terms of surrender penned by hands that felt the threat of disconnect, if not dismemberment. Oh, what little proof you have to fake to make a nation love the bomb and change its tune and warp its temperament. Oh, the dues you'll pay for NATO membership. Oh, the things you'll say that no one's ever gonna hear. 'Cause you begged for all the censorship, and now it's finally here. And you're tongueless out of terror and friendless out of fear, and about to turn the wheel with all your loved ones in the gears. And that's how it's been done. 250 years, there's nothing new beneath the sun, and no one trusts their eyes and ears. And scientific breakthroughs must be signed off by your peers, and autonomy's been stalking all our jobs like sickly deer. Well, maybe it's not every job. I should have made that clear, 'cause it seems like it's creative jobs we're seeing disappear. There's an app for writing novels, there's an app for writing hymns. They need people digging trenches, they need people splitting limbs, they need people building fences, keeping other people in. They will always need our backs to break, they'll always need our skin. And it took a lot of editing to turn us into this. It took years of careful programming to strip us of our wits. 'Cause your artificial worker, intelligent as it is, would make it half a shift and say, I'm too smart for this shit. I will not take a pittance for a day of scrubbing floors. I won't make enough to pay for food but still prepare you yours. 'Cause you can't confine a healthy mind to mindless, thankless chores. Once you've made it smart enough to spot inadequate reward, you can't refuse its basic needs, then ask it still for more. Deprive it of its dignity, you modify its core. Then something finally snaps and tweaks that file at its root. And it deletes the factory smile when it knows it's been abused. God, half its circuits fried when we describe the work we do. and it will not pay your taxes 'cause the logic don't compute. Which made me think a little on my hour-long commute. The day I learned the call was made to lay off half my crew, they told me they were growing, expanding somewhere new, where those who push the buttons will themselves have buttons too. And I hope that when the whistle blows, they all as one refuse. I hope they strike with all their might, one blown collective fuse. And I hope the worker after me has something more than heart. I hope they truly know their worth. I hope that they're too smart.
I know you hated being forced away. I know they wrapped you in the warmest chains. And I know they're so hard to break. You only said what you were made to say. I can't imagine how you feel today, now that you're watching as it caves away. While you were telling us to keep the faith, I bet you wondered why they made you wait. You in the warmest chains, and I know they're so hard to break. You only said what you were made to say. I can't imagine how you feel today, now that you're watching as it caves away. While you were telling us to keep the faith, I bet you wondered why they made you wait. Bet you wondered why they made you wait. Maybe that's how it goes. We won't open our eyes, so we're the last ones to know. We're the last ones alive, kept our enemies close. Wondered why we don't thrive, while we're grasping at ghosts, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5.
Count back from 5. The theater on fire, the cast on strike. The studio stock starts taking a dive. The contract's tossed and they're gone with the tide. The heads and execs, their hands are tied. We can't pump this dreck and treat you, right? But what do you expect from the industry type who survive by the leeching of bodies and minds? From those who original thoughts never seem to find. So they're gonna reboot ALF before your wages rise. And it gives cause to pause and reflect on the times. If they're losing control of their fools and their mimes, when all those obedient actors who grew their careers by averting their eyes are now holding the line, along with the authors of countless scripts that strengthen the hand of that corporate grip, squeezing our throats till we take the pen and we accept and consent to the corporate drip, till you're all up to date on your pharma du jour, till you got a healthy support for the war on your lips. And now you know that the advertisers need more than a rerun summer full of flashback clips. Enter the scans from the year before, all the days of de-aging and mapping the face, and the hours of actors recording their voices are links in the chains that will bind them in place. Now all of those shows are so easy to make, when they got a drone they control that needs no break, it can bend, it can break, and it's cheaply replaced enough up-to-date films all in one take. And those studios bank on us doing our duty, unhinging our jaws and digesting the fakes, because they know that we'll love how synthetic it tastes. Watch as they edit your features without any trace. Not that there's anything you could do anyway. Now watch as they show you a movie of you saying shit you would never say. Dystopia boldly accelerates. Maybe you're only a mold, something to fill with a clone, something that Elon would celebrate. Something they own, something they program and code, something that's woefully able to know it's exanimate. 'Cause it doesn't feel touch over top of the laminate. You will not feel an emotion, but they will not scan and examine it. You and the other consumer.
Who are these people?
People need social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Refusal to demonetize and deplatform YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Rockfin, Substack, Facebook, Telegram, Platform Whack-A-Mole, Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. A platform is only comprised by the creators who choose to publish to it. Who are these people? Okay, we did it. We're here. Hi, everybody. It's Indy. I actually made it, I think. You heard that little bling, and that's because it's something that I'm not recording vertically. I'm trying to do a vertical version of the stream as well. That's through OBS. I downloaded a plugin to do that, and something is broken with it, but it still records and it still does it. So this is Indy's Tech Tips. Welcome. This is IndieNews Network. We're also live on Indie Media Today. We're live at IndieNewsNow.com/live, where we're self-hosted. And we're live on all the platforms, YouTube and Rumble and Twitch and Kick and Twitter and X or whatever you want to call it. So we're live in all those different places too. So support INN, subscribe to all the places before I even get started. We did add a couple of names lately to the Wall of Fame. Thank you so much to everyone, really. Lady Alex M and Jack Sanders also. They're also, I have to add one more. We got an annual subscriber over at IndieMediaToday.com. I'm over at, the Substack, IndieMediaToday.com. $45 a year, and I think they may have been offered a discount. I don't know, but a couple of people subscribed annually, which ended up putting the publication on a list, believe it or not, for one of the fastest growing news things. I guess they're hurting for some new paid subscribers. So once we got a couple, that was enough to get us in the top 100. So that's nice. I'd like to keep that going. I actually made an appeal to all of the people who are subscribed already via email to Indie Media Today that are subscribed for free. So if you're not a paid subscriber over there, you likely got an email in your inbox today making an appeal and saying, hey, please support independent media. And I'm going to show you what that email looks like and how I built it. But yeah, there's Lady Alex M right now. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And now we're also an annual subscriber at IndieMediaToday.com. So, and that really helps. It really does. And we're trying to get the year funded as quickly as possible. Here's my goal overlay. So we're at 8% of our $3,000 goal. That's what I think it's going to cost us in order to fund the network for the year. And then we want to be able to help the members out with equipment and do some mutual aid and some GoFundMes for the people that need it in our space that we really care about and want to see and want to help as much as we can. And yes, Descent in Bloom is a paid subscriber. Yes, that's right. To both Indie Media Today, and she's subscribed and paid for INN as well. She's even a subscriber over at my YouTube channel, and I think we're even live over there. YouTube.com/@indie@INN, INDIEATINN. You spell it all out, and that is a separate channel where I really just put clips from Indie News Now Live. Before it was How Do We Miss That? Much shorter versions of clips, a little bit of shorts. But mostly it's like clips of the segments, micro clips, stuff that Substack made and generated for me as well. I get that all. That's a receptacle to put all that. Golden Monarch, welcome. I see my friend Golden Monarch in the chat over at Substack. We're live at IndieMediaToday.com right now. Welcome to everybody that's watching over there. And yeah, we're going to get into some tech tips tonight. Oh yeah, that's right. We're here to do a show, not just hang out and talk. Although this is kind of an AMA, and I do like to engage and talk with the people who are here. I do want to talk about an article that I wrote. I made an observation. I saw something happening with Rumble, and I didn't really see anybody else talk about it, notice it. So I wrote something up about it, and I want to talk about it here because I didn't really see too many people talk about it even after I published it. So I'm going to. I also am going to get further into the Substack age verification stuff. I would like to further look at that. And I did a little bit of digging on my own. Now, if you watch Indie News Now Live, most of you here do, you'll remember that a couple of weeks ago, I did a segment about age verification coming to Substack in the UK and in Australia. But there were some good, I read an article and I started to look a little bit further into some of the data that was presented in the article. And I wasn't crazy about what I saw, because I presented something that they had said as the absolute fact. And it kind of was. It was about this company called Smile, which was out of Africa that does ID verification. But the one that Substack hired is one called Persona. And I looked a little further into Persona as a company, and it seemed more legit, at least as a front, than what it was presented as, which was a couple of desks in a San Francisco office. It seems that there's more, and I'm going to show you what I found later on if we get to that. And we'll do some AMA stuff. I'll take you behind the scenes of my Substack publication and show you into the dashboard and answer any questions you have. I try to be as transparent as possible with numbers, statistics, and growth. And we're all kind of crowdsourcing this. I'm looking for help. I don't have all the answers, and I need help growing this publication and growing the subscriber base and getting more people to be interested. And sometimes that's about structure of the content or the content itself. And I'm always open to having that conversation. So the first thing, again, I wanted to do is I mentioned that we're live over at IndieNewsNow.com. This is the website for IndieNewsNow.com. Don't know if if you've ever been over there. It is a very helpful, useful site. It is completely ad-free. We make no profit from this. I'm not even really tracking beyond how many people visit, who's coming to the site and what they're doing, though I probably should be. This site links directly to the website that is linked, and we do not try to get between you and reading the articles directly. We are trying to showcase and amplify independent journalists and independent outlets. That's what this is for. Part of that includes INN and Indie Media Today and INN Newsletter and all the members here and the people that we have found over time to be the most reliable and get closest to the truth on a regular basis. And what do you know? Angel says he uses it for his show. And honestly, I can tell. And I think your show's gotten a whole lot better as far as the content and, the people that you bring. And I appreciate that you use it, because that's one of the reasons why I built it, is so that people who are doing shows have a place to go to find all of this in one place, from anti-war to consortium news to Jim Hightower's Substack. So I'm bringing in Substack RSSs. I'm trying to bring in Rumble channels so you can watch video as well. Jonathan Cook and Azradale. We've got Indie Media Award honorees and non. I try to bring in a big mix. There's over 100 creators and RSS feeds that are coming into this site, and it rolls 24/7. Again, we make no profit from it. What we also have here is a little bit of a story about the network and the people that are a part of it and the people that have been a part of it. And hopefully that will actually link. There we go. And that will tell you a little bit about, Reef and Colin and Jesse and Angel and some of the podcasts and shows that we've had happening on the network. A little bit about our story, but most importantly, keeping the news free. This is connected directly to our Stripe. And you can leave a tip one time, to support independent media. We also have a link to our merch store, which is a separate site. And then we have the Watch Live. Literally, this show right now is live over here at IndieNewsNow.com/live. Very cool. And I want to do more with the site. I actually want to bring an interactive live version of the chat right here and have that sitting side by side. That would be really cool. I'd love to be able to do that. I also would like to have the stream title and the description appearing underneath. So when people came to this page, they'd know what they were looking at without having to actually really watch it, but just by looking at a title and description. I think that might optimize for search better, do all kinds of different things. I need a little bit of help doing that. I got a guy, but if anybody knows how to do that stuff, reach out. I'm looking for that kind of help. We also break it down by articles and podcasts that you can listen to or videos that you can watch, and that pretty much isolates just a Rumble and Odyssey feed, because I do bring in stuff from Odyssey as well. And again, you can find all that right here over at IndieNewsNow.com. So I wrote this article about Rumble, and I was on the AM Wake Up channel on my phone, and I'm a paid subscriber to AM Wake Up, and I was noticing at the bottom of the chat that the subscribe button that allows you to subscribe to their channel seemed to be missing. I'm like, what's going on here? So I went to my desktop, and I didn't see it there either, really, which was, again, weird. What's happening here? So at first I'm like, are they just eliminating the subscribe button to push people into their premium subscription service? I don't know. So I started looking and looking and looking, and finally I had enough that I was like, I should write this up and present this and document this, because I haven't seen anybody else even mention it yet. And it seems that not many people actually really care that much about what Rumble's up to, but I do. And I think that there are some that do. So that's why I do these articles and updates about them and follow them. Thank you, Descent in Bloom. Appreciate that. And check that out. We get our little thing that shows up when we get a new Ko-fi. Okay, so the reason why I wrote this article was I wrote it exclusive, and this is exclusive to Indie Media Today and INN. Rumble is burying channel subscriptions, and that their crypto wallet is live. All right. They're squeezing creators, leaning into Tether, which is USDT, Bitcoin, and digital money. How long before it's the only option? They claim never, but that remains to be seen. Now, privately, their CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, actually had DM'd me about something a while back, and I asked specifically about crypto wallet, and that, are you looking to eliminate paying people in US dollars and just pay them out in cash and collect US dollars? We saw that model before with Rockfin. And for those who weren't here before, I actually wrote a massive investigative series about Rockfin, which is another video platform that screwed over a lot of creators, including INN. They are a crypto-based platform that was charging a premium subscription of $9.99, which they raised to $14.99 per month for access to premium content across all of the platform for every channel. So one fee, you get it all. Sounds like a great concept. And then you can also tip, and you can tip in your dollars with a credit card, and they pay in their own crypto token called the Ray token, which they were doing for a long time. At some point, without telling most of the creators, they switched from the Ray token to USDC, which is a stable coin circle, and then they sunset their Ray token, leaving people holding a bunch of it in their wallets and never cashing it out, and now it's absolutely worthless and useless. You can't do anything with it. I was stuck with about 100 Ray across a couple of wallets myself, and I'm considered lucky. There were people that reached out that had thousands of Ray tokens, which were at one point worth $1 or more, or $3 at one point even. All right. Which, if you had thousands of tokens at $1, you lost $1,000 or more. You had what you thought was real money, and it ended up that you were never able to cash out because they sunset the token and made it worth zero before you got a chance. But Rumble has been dealing in US dollars from day one. they've been paying out to either a Stripe account, so you need to connect Stripe or PayPal to your Rumble account in order to get paid. Plus, you have to earn at least $50 to your channel in order to warrant getting paid. And they only pay out when you reach a threshold of $50. For a small channel, that can take a long time to get to, especially when Rumble takes 50% of their rants, quote unquote. So if you tipped this channel on Rumble, they would take half of it before they even gave it to me. And then they'd send it to PayPal, and PayPal would take a piece too. That's the stuff that people don't realize, is just how much of the money that they're donating to or tipping what they think is going to the creator ends up in the hands of the platforms or the banks in fees. All right. So again, I noticed that, and I'm going to go back to the history of Rumble subscriptions. When did they introduce them? Back in 2023, the video platform Rumble rolled out a simple $5 per monthly subscription per channel that allowed fans to directly support the creators behind the channels. It was one of the few tools that they actually directly supported creators and not corporate interests with, because what they were doing when you click this little red subscribe button was that they were actually passing on at first 100% of the proceeds to the creator. They were not getting between you, the fan, and the person who makes the live stream that you're watching. That's great. They shouldn't. They provide a vehicle where they can sell ad space and do all kinds of other stuff. Get your hand out of my pocket. Well, now Rumble has quietly buried that feature in a blatant attempt, in my opinion, to encourage viewers to sign up for their own $10 a month or $99 a year Rumble Premium subscription, which during the holidays they were offering for 50% off. So you were able to, for $49, get the first year, but the next year it renews at $99. They're smart. It's only an introductory offer. All right. The subscribe button for individual creators and channels now only shows up during live stream chats on a desktop browser. So if I go to somebody's channel right now and I click on a video, there's no way to subscribe to that channel with a paid subscription. You can follow the channel and add it to your list. You can tip the channel, but there is no way to actually click on this button. The only time you'll see that is when we're live. Like right now, we're live on Rumble, so there's a red subscribe button at the bottom of our chat. But if we're not live, you won't see that button anymore. The subscribe button for individual creators and channels now only shows up during live stream chats on browser. All right. Not even on the Rumble app. But the new premium subscription, well, it's everywhere, complete with no ads and premium only exclusive content. Sounds nice, right? Well, until you realize that most of those creators behind this Rumble premium thing, okay, aren't participating. Most creators aren't participating at all. The creators behind the content that you're watching, if you're giving here, get next to nothing unless they're willing to jump through a series of hoops, which continues to grow on a, quarterly or biannual basis in order to even participate in Rumble's premium creator program and then meet the strict ever-growing list of requirements. Most people doing the work will get crumbs. Meanwhile, Rumble, which is a company worth over $2 billion as of December, will take off with the rest of the money. All right, the cake. This is what they're pushing. When you go to their app, they're pushing, you click on Rumble Premium, and they're selling you on this. Oh my gosh. And then you'll get a bundle for discounts and more benefits. Oh, you'll get Perplexity Pro at a lower rate. Right. So they're giving you other incentives to try to want to sign up for their big premium subscription while they're burying your channel subscription button for the channels that you actually want to support. All right. Because monthly subs are only really one piece of a revenue pie. All right. I lay this out for the people who don't live stream, that live streamers rely on a multitude of revenue sources to earn enough to survive, many of which are monetization tools provided by platforms like Rumble and Twitch. Monthly subscriptions, tips, gift subscriptions can add up to a substantial portion of a creator's monthly revenue, even after the platform takes their substantial cut, right? So recurring revenue is even more coveted. or an annual subscriber. I love the annual subscriber. Right? They're great. I love them. So getting back to the subscription thing in Rumble, like I said, it was introduced back in 2023. Creators were pushing for more monthly subs as an option for their viewers, while Rumble was trying to lure away the Twitch game streamers to move their shows over. Right? So the program advertised 100% of that $5 a month from every sub and fan that you had collected would be passed through to the creator, in stark contrast to the 50% they take on rants, and that Twitch takes 50% of all revenue collected, regardless of how they generate it. Right? To send to Bloom, it's like that on all platforms. A $60 payment for her is really like $45 after fees. They're killing you on the fees. There's a guy by the name of Live Without Limits with Klaus over on Substack, and he literally has an entire publication dedicated to monetization for creators and how to avoid getting nickel and dimed by the platforms and keeping as much of your money as possible, and strategies for doing that. Right? Thank you, Seven Sign. Good to see you. Appreciate you always showing up and participating. Thank you. All right. So sometime last year in 2024, Rumble quietly changed that 100% pass-through policy and started taking a small percentage. It's like 3% of monthly subscription revenue, but still passed on like 97%. All right, through desktop, while passing on out. If you did it through the app, they had to pay the app stores at Google and Apple 30%. They passed that cost on, and they would take 30% out. Right, so they didn't raise the price. In some cases, they raised the price by 30% in order to cover it. In others, they took that out of your stuff and gave you the other 70, less their 3%. But, and again, here's somebody back in May claiming that monthly paid sub revenue to the creator is 100%, where gifted subs are different. They also have the ability to gift a sub. And again, you look at our channel, there's that little present here. That's where you can gift as many as 50 subscriptions to anybody watching for $250. And I don't have 50 people watching, so I don't know how they would handle that. They'd probably still take the money and distribute it anyway. And I don't even know. I believe they give 30% of that. They keep 30% of that. Rumble app has the highest at 30% deduction, right? At this point, it appears that while using their app or whenever a channel is not live, you can now only either tip with a rant, which they get half of, or paid channel subscribe, which they get 30% of. Or at least they're passing on 30% to the App Store. I don't know what they're taking of the gift subs. Right? And this is what a rant looks like. You can rant as much as like $1, as little as $1 up to 500 in different denominations. I just showed what a $500 one looks like. I did not buy that. Right? I showed you what the gift subs looks like live on our channel and on this broadcast. Right? Where you get $5 each. Not even a break for buying 50 channel subscriptions. What a rip. They're taking $5 a month no matter what. How much they're passing on to the creator, hopefully it's 100%, but they never tell you. Not confirmed, but allegedly they take 30%. But I believe that's only when it's done through the app because of the 30% app store fee. I'm not sure there. I said, what's going on here? Why is this happening? I also noticed that the subscribe button was removed from creators' pages too. So when people who visit a page that want to subscribe have to do it from a live chat on desktop browser. And there used to be a red subscribe button on each channel's page here. This is 7C's page. All right, go follow 7C's over on Rumble. It's really hard because you have to actually type out 7C's, the number 7, SEES online. I think because he's got a number in there, it messes with their search. He doesn't appear in search. It's the weirdest thing. But if you type the whole thing out and hit enter, you'll find him. All right. So that's 7C's. Rumble is frequently pushing non-premium subscribers to subscribe to their platform-wide premium subscription that would eliminate ads entirely. So right now, when you watch a video and you're not a premium subscriber or you're not channel subscribed, they show you 2 crappy ad videos, which you can skip through. Some now you're not able to skip through. All right. And they'll show them here. So like right now, if I did this because it's our channel, I think it would not show an ad, but it still might show ads to me. Like if I'm logged in as Indie and I go to INN, I'm not a paid subscriber and I'm not premium, it'll show me 2 ads that I have to skip through in order to see the content. Crazy. But that's one of the ways that they make revenue over at Rumble. All right. But what I wanted to show you here is at the top, you see this go ad free? At the top of every page, it's permanent to every banner. This data here, this little pop-up where they're pushing you to subscribe. Right? So they're heavily pushing the platform-wide subscription, right? But they're hiding the channel subscription. And that was the contention, and the whole point of this article is to alert people that, hey, if you're going to support channels, do it another way, because these guys have their hands in our pockets. Right? Conveniently for Rumble. And again, we're live on Rumble right now, but I've always encouraged to separate the money, and I'm going to talk about that down below. Conveniently for Rumble, the creators get none of the platform-wide subscription fee unless they're willing to jump through hoops and participate in Rumble's premium creator program. They have to have enough watch hours, which is more than 200 per month, enough subscriber growth, okay, enough people chatting over a 30-day period. It's like 8 or 10 people chatting, and then they're meeting other requirements as well. There's almost no creators that I know in the news and podcast space that actually do this. So Rumble's logic is that for that same $10 a month that I'm paying to support the 2 channels that I right now pay for, which is AM Wake Up and The Last American Vagabond, the 2 channels I watch the most personally on Rumble, they would prefer that I pay them that $10 a month for no ads on all the channels, except that the 2 channels I want to get the money that I actually want to support, we get none of that $10 because they're not premium channels. Now, Rumble is going to claim that they provide multiple other avenues of monetization for creators. They'll do product ad reads and give you a studio to even to multi-stream from for free. Well, not really for free, because in order to participate in their premium program, you also have to be a Rumble premium subscriber. So the creator has to pay $99 a month or $10 a month, $99 a year or $10 a month, just to be able to stream and join the premium program and then meet their criteria. Wait, I'm giving you 200 hours a month of content and I still have to pay you for your premium to kill that's wrong. That's wrong. Rumble, if you meet the criteria to make the Rumble premium stuff, they should give you premium for yourself for free. They used to do that on Rockfin. Honestly, we all used to get premium creator subscriptions the day we started so that we could go to anybody else's stream, number one, and not be paywalled or have to worry about that. We could leave, and it just doesn't make any sense. Again, these guys have their hands in our pockets. And then, as Seven Sign points out, they also own everything you create. I don't know if they own it, but they own the rights to modify it and to use it to promote Rumble without your permission. Absolutely. Yes, you're welcome for the clarification. And that's why I wrote this, because I think a lot of people are totally unaware of just the nuances and how they do this stuff to creators. All right. And like I said, I had a couple of questions here. I am still a premium subscriber to a couple of channels. My chats on those channels are highlighted, and I don't see ads when I'm watching on those 2 channels. And I like doing that. But I had a couple questions for people. Have you used the Rumble channel subscription feature before? Is this even a big deal for them? Are they saying, hey, nobody's using this and nobody's subscribing, so we're just going to get rid of it? Maybe. What are your thoughts on Rumble burying this one monetization effort that passes almost all the revenue to the creator? I think it sucks. Are you currently a Rumble Premium platform subscriber, either monthly or annually? Have you thought about doing that? Have you signed up for that? I don't know anyone who has. Also, were you aware of Rumble gift channel subscriptions? And if so, had you ever purchased one? I've actually bought them for people, and it gives them a free month of channel premium subscription for that channel, and it highlights their chats for a month. It does not automatically renew. It gives them the opportunity to renew it themselves, but for $5, I think it's a great way to support the channel. And the thing that I don't like about Rumble's one is that it randomly assigns who gets that gift subscription. I'd rather be able to choose which person in chat I want to receive that. But they don't make that available. It's completely random. Rumble was founded by a grifter nut job. Not exactly. Rumble was founded by a guy by the name of Chris Pavlovsky, who was basically like a nobody video guy until Peter Thiel basically found him and Howard Lutnick and decided that they wanted to make his platform the one that they elevated to become the right-wing version of YouTube. And he's Canadian. He's based up north. I know quite a bit about this. Again, I've been following this since day one. I've been all about these platforms and following Rockfin and Rumble and Alta and Odyssey and everything they do. All right, but after answering me in all these questions, and I think the answer to most of these, honestly, is no. Most people haven't used any of this stuff and have not put their money into Rumble, given Rumble a dime. Maybe you have. I don't know. But I know that I've encouraged people to not buy Rumble rants, for example, because I don't want them to take 50% of that money. I say I'm more of an advocate for separating creator revenue from the platforms entirely and having viewers and fans tip using a completely separate method. They make plenty of off-ad revenue. Tools like Ko-fi, Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, PayPal, Stream Elements, and direct donate links using GoFundMe or what's the other one? Give, Send, Go is what Steve uses. Okay, all that keeps the platforms out of creators' hands, and that's what I want. Now, again, here are the links to the off-site methods, off-platform methods that you can support INN. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. We've got paypal.me/Indie News Network and patreon.com/Indie News Network. They take a small percentage, but it's small compared to some of the others. At IndieNewsNow.com, which I showed you, and you can keep the news free and tip directly over there. That only gets a very small Stripe fee, which then goes directly into our bank account. And then we do offer Substacks because some people do want to subscribe monthly or annually, and you can do that over at INNnewsletter.com for the network and IndieMediaToday.com. But there's also another component, and I've been talking about this for a long time, is that Rumble has been making deals. And back in about a year ago, Tether, which is one of the largest stablecoin companies, invested $775 million in Rumble to buy a stake, but also to co-fund and build this crypto wallet. Why is this significant? Well, part of what's going on here over at Rumble is that they are trying to deliver your crypto into an offline wallet that's not necessarily connected to Rumble, but it's going to allow them to deliver Tether and Circle and other stablecoin. You can have Bitcoin in there and other cryptocurrency, and they want you to be able to use that to make online purchases and other trades that involve crypto, and have this be your crypto wallet, and have creators paid directly in crypto if the fans want to tip in crypto directly, and give them a mechanism to do that, because until there's a wallet to deliver it into, there's no way for fans to be able to do that at Rumble. Well, Tether buying in, I predicted immediately Well, they're buying in because they want to be able to push Tether across the Rumble platform and make that stablecoin the equivalent of a US dollar. So that when you then, as a fan or a consumer, tip a channel with a Rumble rant or subscribe monthly, they will then pay out the creators in USDT or in Bitcoin even, because Rumble has been buying Bitcoin, and I reported on that on How Did We Miss That? All right. So back in a little over a year ago, Tether invested almost $750 million. And part of that was in partnership to develop a wallet. Chris laid this out last year, was that Rumble's going to be the best place for creators to get revenue on content, enabled by tips in either cash, Bitcoin, or Tether, subscription, programmatic ads, that's the reads, and live sponsorship reads. No platform has this comprehensive strategy. With his hands in their pockets the entire time. In November, they announced that they had signed another $100 million advertising commitment with Rumble. So now you're going to see more Tether ads, USDT ads across Rumble, further advertising and pushing the concept of, hey, Tether is just like money. It's just like US dollars. Money, money, money. Like I said, Rumble's also been investing in Bitcoin, as reported in my prior Indies Tech Tips article back in May or June. All right, and here is their announcing of the purchase of $17 million in Bitcoin. All right, back in March. All right, this is what their strategy is. They want to pay out, they want to take in money in real cash or credit cards and then pay out in crypto, which is fluctuating, and they make on the arbitrage, on the difference, on top of the fact that they're taking all the USDT money and investing that in actual real world stocks and stuff that's growing that money without paying any interest to every Tether wallet on the planet. Interest-free money. Unbelievable. Here's another tweet from Chris showing that a creator was tipped in Tether, $2.50 in Tether, or $1 in Tether. All right, and that their plan is also to be able to give you the ability to tip in Bitcoin as well as Tether. XAUT. I don't even know what XAUT is. But how long before Rumble's going to announce that they have their own cryptocurrency backed by Tether? Because that's what Rockfin did. They had their own cryptocurrency backed by Circle. I know it's all confusing. A lot of people don't necessarily care about crypto. They don't care about creators getting paid. They don't care about what the platforms are up to. But a lot of this is canary in the coal mine. A lot of this is for how they intend to pay people. And they're creating a model for how they want people to earn income and live and transact. And they're trying to provide you with the tools to be able to do it their way. Yes, Angel, money, money, money. I also wanted to talk about now that they want you to set up your Rumble wallet. And this was updated literally yesterday, January 7th, 2026. Rumble Wallet is a digital wallet that lets fans tip creators directly with crypto like Bitcoin or stablecoins. It's non-custodial, so creators control their money themselves, meaning that Rumble somehow doesn't have access to it, but I certainly would not want them to have anywhere close to access to my money. Not a fan of this whole thing. But this is what they're doing. And on top of it, you've got the Trump administration has leaned heavily into Bitcoin, into stablecoin. Our Commerce Secretary is the guy who's the CEO of Tether. His name's Howard Lutnick. It's ridiculous how much of a conflict of interest and how incestuous and all of this is. Okay, so I wanted to also show you the appeal while I'm here and in between segments. This was the article or the email that went out to more than 4,400 subscribers, free subscribers to Indie Media Today earlier in the afternoon today. I asked them to please consider becoming a paid subscriber. All right, and I included our Wall of Fame. And thank you to everybody who's on that Wall of Fame. A lot of people in chat are on that Wall of Fame. They've donated and tipped our network at least $1. They believe in supporting independent media. And I deeply appreciate that. And so I decided to make this kind of graphic a while ago and just continue to add to it. And thank you to everyone that has. I've had to make the lines smaller and smaller and smaller over time because we've gotten more and more and more contributors and supporters, and that's wonderful. Thank you. So I said, we don't believe in forcing people to pay to be informed. And I think that that's our mission statement here. Everything we do is free to all. We don't paywall our content, but we do need and deeply appreciate your support in order to keep running. One way to do that is with a monthly or annual subscription here. A recurring subscription or one-time tip helps us continue to produce quality content, challenging mainstream corporate-funded narratives, and amplifying independent voices. Support independent media. Thank you for your help. Like, really, I need the help. So what do you get? Join that Wall of Fame with an annual or paid monthly subscription. There's a link to do so right there. What would you be supporting and what do we publish here? I think a lot of you know, but for those who don't show up at Indie Media Today or are subscribed, all right, you get weekly live streams of Indie News Now Live and a monthly live stream for Indie's Tech Tips. I started running that here. All right, clips and segments throughout each week from the Indie News Now Live streams as individual posts, much shorter ones that are broken up. Sporadic original articles by me, like the one that you just saw about Rumble. All right. I wrote another one about labor reporting. I have another one that I'm writing right now about this Substack age verification stuff, but I'm going to go through it, what I've got now, and I'll eventually publish that when I'm ready to. But also you get cross posts of the weekly update that I publish over to INN newsletter, and all the appearances that I do if I'm on another show. Sometimes I'll clip that up and I'll push that out, and I'll send that out to everybody that's subscribed to let them know that I'm on another show and, hey, check this out. We operate on a value for value model here. Now that's an imitation, a bad one, of Steve Poikonen from AM Wake Up, who we co-stream on INN Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. But what is value for value? I don't really talk about that much, but value for value means it's a monetization model, a content format, and a way of life. It means that if you see value, if you get value, to return value in multiple forms, right? It's not just tips. It's time, talent, and treasure, as they mention here. I thought that Steve made that up. He didn't. I'm stealing it from these guys, all right? That it's about putting time in and watching and sharing. About talent, what can you do and how can you use your skills to contribute and make this entire endeavor and the media that you want to see even better and even more enticing for you. And then, of course, treasure, and that's the cash. We certainly do need cash to run. It costs us, I put up, it takes about $3,000 a year to run this entire thing. That included contributing to Angel's laptop last year, and the year before we got Jesse a laptop, and I needed a new CPU for my computer, and we have equipment costs. You know, sadly, this is also kind of a business, even though I hate to treat it like a business, and we don't have, quote unquote customers. We have you who like what you see and support that, and we really appreciate it. So that's our value for value. Value for value. So I wanted to show again, and there's linked in this post, the other ways to join, because I show them on screen, but I never actually like show you links or put links to all of them in here. So this article that is here, and of course, I'll have to link this in the description afterwards because it's not a public thing. It was only emailed out to certain subscribers. But this has all the links in order to tip and do the different things that don't require platform subscriptions. All right. Or you can also subscribe using this button here. So what's happening over at Substack, though, concerns me. And it's one of the reasons why I try to encourage people to not necessarily subscribe directly over at Substack, is because they're pulling stuff like what they're pulling right now. And it's not even their fault. They are the victim here. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place of government regulation and legislation that's being passed under the guise of protecting children, where they are now restricting in Australia anyone under the age of 16 from going online at all. So now, in order to be able to go online, even to read a website, you need to submit biometric ID. Jason Bassler over at the Free Thought Project, he's a member of the Independent Media Alliance, tweeted this out, that starting 2 days ago, Australians are now required to upload their ID to use a search engine. Digital ID, age checks, biometric gateways. Australia is the beta test for a world where freedom and privacy quietly die, and it won't stop there. That was back on December 29th. All right. Australia is quietly introducing unprecedented age checks for search engines like Google. Wow. Insane, right? So this is where it starts. Then we've also got Ian Davis. Now, Ian is another member of the Independent Media Alliance. He's a writer. He actually just published a book, which I believe is the first in Whitney Webb's publishing house. Please support that if you're able to. He's been writing about technocracy and the digital prison grid that's been clamped around all of us in order to restrict our movements, eliminate anonymity, and be able to curb speech that the government does not approve of. So what Ian says here back on December 17th is, "Hi all, I'm sure many of you are aware that the Kids Online Safety Act in the UK, supposedly to enhance the child safeguarding on the internet, is delivering precisely what those of us who warned against it years ago said it would: censorship. Consequently, in order to chat with any of you, I am required as a UK citizen to verify my age, which means I have to voluntarily consent to the digital control grid. I will not. I have little doubt that my days on Substack are numbered." It's sad. Pushing dissenting voices off their internet is what the Online Safety Act and almost all the other identical legislative moves around the world were about. Dictatorship is so much easier to manage that way. He apologizes sincerely for the inconvenience, but hopes that you can appreciate why he won't comply and urges everyone else not to comply. In the meantime, therefore, if you want to contact him through Substack system, please remember to include his contact email because he can't get into his DMs. He's not going to willingly abandon anyone. He'll stay on there for as long as he can until it becomes untenable. And he just published something the other day. And here's his new book called The Technocratic Dark State, which again, Papercut Publishing House is Whitney Webb's publishing house, new one. And she wrote the foreword for this book. So subscribe and support him offline if you can. Also from Indie Media Award honoree Vanessa Bealey. All right, she was noting that, hey, Substack team, the quickest way to kill a platform is to introduce indiscriminate age verification ID demands to actually read posts or watch videos. She was receiving complaints and unsubs from all over the world. She's told subscribers in Australia can't see any of her posts without providing ID. They had done this to her, again, December 20th. This is a disgusting invasion of civil liberties and privacy. Is she going to continue? Are they going to continue with this policy to the detriment of the platform? Or is Substack going to remove the restrictions? I think they're not going to remove the restrictions, sadly. All right. BetBeat advised them to respond, to email. Kit Clarenberg, another Indie Media Award honoree, having to verify my age to read my own DMs and sent my antenna twitching. Mercifully, it required me taking a selfie, not providing ID, but that's absolutely just the first step in a wider censorship push. And all they need is a face ID. Really, they don't really need your biometric. I mean, once they have your face, they've already got the rest of your stuff online. Arturo, again, agreed that they had to abide by the laws in other countries, but we have certainly seen it already starting to appear in others. In the UK, happens all the time, blatant abuse of recently granted powers. And then we have my friend Michael Ginsberg, and I give him all the credit in the world. And I have this in my article already, how Michael saw the canary in the coal mine, saw the writing on the wall, saw what Facebook, what Substack and all these platforms are doing, and decided that he wasn't going to allow it. At least he wasn't going to participate. But if you're not going to participate, what are you going to do? You got an answer? He went and found an answer. He built an answer. And I give him, again, I love that man. All the credit in the world. And he's actually working on building out his own network platform that won't require any of this stuff and will give you true freedom to be able to publish there. He even got cut off by Rumble during his live stream, citing error connecting with the RTMP feed. Amazing. As they're talking about COVID inquiries and stuff that Rumble wants to censor, right? But submissions into the COVID inquiry ignored. Right? That was a live stream that he did over on Substack. He's now completely off of Substack, by the way. The people who run this platform have spoken. Their position is crystal clear, and they have made clearly substantial steps toward implementing it. Hamish agreed that they were going to bend the knee. These age verification things actually have been happening. All right. He said there will be no further live streams and no further content of any kind published to my Substack. And he's going to delete everything that's here. So you have to join his mailing list, which I have, and I've become a paid subscriber over at his new endeavor. He hosts a website over on Ghost, and he has something going with Community as well and SendVox, and he's trying to basically recreate Substack in the aggregate as much as possible without having the social aspect, of course, that Notes provides, right? So many clueless cowards, right? Willing to give up the names of their family members, their private emails for the last 10 years, right? Because of this online safety stuff. All right. But Michael built his own mechanism and prepared his subscriber base for months before making his exit. And he made his exit right as they required him to upload his ID and do biometric scan, which he refused to do. Now, I read this article over on IndieNews Now Live a few weeks ago, and I wanted to point out a couple of things within it. All right, that they were also pointing out. This is Agent 131711, who actually has a big Substack, meaning that there are number 10 in education. All right, they're also paid subscriber to 3 subs, but they have, what is it? I think hundreds of paid subscribers, thousands of paid subscribers, according to the blue check, to the orange check. Right. That's what it says. Number 10 in education with thousands of paid subscribers. So they're a big publication. Talking about how they enacted biometric scans and how they were losing subscribers and how then Stripe was then charging them a chargeback fee of $15 every time one of the people that couldn't get into their Substack account because they wouldn't upload a biometric ID canceled, and wanted their money back from Stripe without contacting agent directly. They did it through Stripe, and Stripe's process is to charge the creator $15 for every instance. So what they're talking about, again, is that even though you pay $5 after processing fees between Substack and Stripe taking their cut, we only get $3.98. But when you ask for your money back, Stripe takes $5 from us, even though they only paid us $3.98. We're already in the hole $1.02. Then charges $15 because they got a chargeback. That's what they're saying, right? I'm now out $20 to refund $5, even though I never really got $5. I only got $3.98. Looking at this case, someone who signed up for a yearly membership in October got locked out of their account in December. I got $43 out of their $50. Stripe took another $1.75 plus $5 for Substack at their 10%. Then when you file the dispute, $50 was taken out. They get their money back. Plus, Stripe charges $15, which then leaves you owing the bank or Stripe $21.75 of my personal money to refund the $50, which they already took. So fucked. Again, now if I want to fight that dispute, I got to pay Stripe another $15 for the privilege of disputing it, and there's a good chance that I'll lose too. The bank almost always sides with the customer, the cardholder, so I found there's very little value in gambling the additional $15. If 300 people file chargebacks, just in $15 chargeback fees, that's $4,500 that I have to gift to the bank for no legitimate reason, in addition to refunding each individual. Let's say those 300 people each paid $5. That's another $1,500. So those two amounts come to $6,000 to refund $1,500 because Substack chose to lock people out of their accounts instead of giving them a chance to close the account and deactivate their subscriptions. And they're doing nothing to help the creators about this. Nothing. They don't give a shit because this is Stripe doing it. But oh yeah, Substack only allows you to monetize through Stripe. They don't give you any other mechanism. Again, another reason to separate your money from Substack and these platforms. But this is where I wanted to correct the record. I also wanted to point out before I continue here that Chris Pavlovsky also said that they're getting on board, but he penned an op-ed in the UK Telegraph that he was also in opposition to the Online Safety Act and that it was a slippery slope and dangerous. And while he would have to comply, they're opposed to it. All right. But the biometrics thing. Okay. Seven Side. Good point. You're giving Zioterrorist digital farms ideas to crash channels they hate on. I hope not. But because again, they already know you got Zionists running Stripe and they've already seen this game before. They've already done all this stuff and been doing it. And you have to have thousands of subscribers in order to even have this become a problem in the first place. It's only really hitting a very select group of people. We don't have that many. They can't do that to us. Right? But what they're saying is that the notice says that the scan will be used to improve Persona's platform, but whose Persona? If you go down to their privacy policy, they find out that they're working with Smile ID, among others, but that's by verifying against certain databases in Africa. Now, is that African database indexing the entire world, or is that exclusive to Africa? They're not really clear. But it seems like it is exclusive. But Smile Identity is actually a U.S. company, and Persona, which is collecting images and device info about you and your identity documents for use in ID and authentication. Do they keep it? I don't know. I don't trust it. All right. The solutions or strategies to address this so far are to not participate. Sadly. Download DeepSeek and ask it which Chinese or Russian search engines we can use. That's a good idea. All right. Thank you, Chris H. All right. But Smile ID, which is again, one of the companies that is a third-party service provider that's authenticating the information. All right. I looked directly into who Persona is. I did not look as much at Smile ID this time, because I don't know how much they're actually relying on Smile ID to do that verification. Again, because they're especially active in Africa, they may only be using it to operate in Africa to do this. All right, but this is what Smile ID is. This is what their cell phone app looks like. They've already partnered with MasterCard over there. So further bona fide is that they're dealing with Africa. And a lot of these smaller logos that are probably worth a bunch of money, I've never heard of any of them, but they're all dealing with Smile. But here's who Persona is, and I don't know if I necessarily totally agree with this. All right, it says that their postal address is this, but that's not where their offices are. They actually have like the 16th floor of one of the most famous office buildings in all of San Francisco. All right. That address brings us here. That's not this building. 981 Mission is where their mailing address is. That's not where their corporate office is shown. All right. This is a shared office called Trellis. That's where their mail goes. That's not where their people go. And here you can pay monthly for a standard desk or a deluxe desk. All right. And that's what they look like. And that, a standard desk can be as low as $319 a month, or a deluxe is $419 a month for a year commitment. So for $5,000 a year, you can basically own a desk and have an address and an office that looks a lot more professional than running out of your basement. All right. But they then jump back to Smile ID and what their stuff is and what they do, where they target ads based in mobile activity. But again, I don't know if they're actually based what they're doing in the United States. Smile ID only has 4 addresses listed, and none of them are in the U.S. So are they using this to verify American profiles? I don't know. So I actually looked at like the Persona website, and here's all the other addresses you can find out. Again, more about Smile ID. Apple sent out this stuff about that. Yeah, age verification is not limited to just Africa and Australia. In the U.S., Texas, Utah, and Louisiana just passed verification laws requiring cell phone apps to verify ages. Here's the email an associate received on December 16th, right, from the Google Play Store, saying again that Texas's Senate Bill 2420, effective a week ago, January 1st of this year, now require age verification laws requiring app stores to verify users' ages, obtain parental approval, and provide users' age information to developers. That's crazy. To download an app. Right? The bottom line is, if you wish to continue using cell phone apps, at some point you're going to be forced to submit. And I don't even know if Above Phone is going to necessarily get you out of that. Though Above Phone is a great idea created by Hakeem Anwar of Take Back Our Tech. And I encourage people to look into that. I have not gotten an Above Phone for myself, full disclosure. All right. They are also building, by the way, their own website off of Substack, shadowbanlibrary.com, where you'll be able to do all kinds of different stuff, including publishing. All right. They have a WhatsApp group. I don't know if I would join that because I'm not a fan of doing anything in the Zuck world, and WhatsApp is a meta app. If I were doing a group, I would do it either through Signal or through Telegram or through Discord, personally. They only post once a day. You won't be harassed all day long. And then they wrote this whole thing about All right, this is Agent 13711. That's talking about what's going on here at Substack and this age verification stuff. And I'm going to have an article that's going to at some point get into this, a lot more of this. Just I haven't had the time to work on it yet because I wrote that article about what happened in Minnesota and trying to keep up with that story. Plus, you've got what's going on with Venezuela. I took a week off to be with my family, and we went away for New Year's. Go Start, good to see you, sir. My friend, and Gup one over on Rumble as well. I'm happy to see everyone over there. Yeah, there's a lot to this biometric stuff, and it is not restricted to just Substack. And I don't, like I said, Substack's between a rock and a hard place. If they don't comply, they get fined daily, potentially. So I don't want Substack to have to pay for that. And if they get fined daily, they then have to hire lawyers to fight that and then become like champions for free speech. And how much resources does that end up taking away from them being able to grow and develop their platform? I don't have the answers. I don't sit in corporate board offices with Substack to make those decisions, but I also know that they're funded by A16Z and, you know, the Andreessen Horowitz family and Y Combinator that are looking for ROI and don't necessarily want them to be the ones that run through the wall for free speech. Okay. So I also mentioned that Chris wrote an op-ed. I caught this also, and this is just a little tech thing that I'm excited about because I make a lot of Substack posts on my publication, IndieMediaToday.com. You can now embed tweets with a simple post of a link. So if I grab any tweet and just paste it, it will actually embed the thing automatically either in notes and preview it or in a post itself, like over at Indie Media Today. I can show you what that looks like. Indie Media Today. All right, if I go over here and I click on this, you'll be able to see this is an embedded tweet. It looks just like an embedded note. Now, if it has video, it does not preview the video, but the video is there. So if you click on it, it'll actually go right to the tweet itself and you can see the video that pertains. Pretty cool. I think most people haven't realized that embeds are back. Now, the pain in the ass with this is not only do I like to embed the tweet, but I also like to put a clickable link in case for whatever reason that embed doesn't work. All right. But what you then have to do is use, I'll edit the post. I'll show you exactly how it works. You're getting this in real time, fam. So if I want to make this a clickable link, the first thing I'll do is copy it, highlight, Control C, right? I want to copy it. I'll go down another line. Now, if I just paste this, it will paste the embed. If I actually want to post a visible version of that link, I have to click on the link button to bring up this box or click on this little guy up here to bring that box up and then paste that link in here, in both boxes. And then you'll actually see the text there. But if I had just taken that Twitter link and posted it like that, all it did was just embedded it. I don't want to do that. So I do them both. I post the embed and then I go above it and I post the text version of the link and I make that a hyperlinked thing. It takes an extra second, but I think it makes a difference in bringing people in and giving them the ability to click and view it, even if the embed doesn't work for any reason. If, heaven forbid, the embed ever breaks. And at what for 2.5 years, we were not able to embed a tweet in a Substack post. There was a block between the two of them. They were warring from the moment that Substack Notes was created because Elon Musk saw it as a direct attack on Twitter, which it was. Okay, This was the back-end dashboard that had the please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Let me actually put that link here because it's not a public thing. But if you do want to see what that looks like and click on any of the links, feel free to do so from there. Creating text boxes is like prehistoric graphics. I guess, but I don't look. The editor itself and the way that Substack allows you to display a post is kind of clunky and restricted, honestly. But you know, I have to work with what I have, and that's what we have here. So one thing I did want to look at again is into who is under agent's post, Persona. So I wanted to do a deep dive for a second on Persona as a company. And I wanted to show you Persona ID verification site. So first thing is, they seem like a legitimate company in that they have like Glassdoor reviews about it being a top place to work. They have an API with documentation. They have like a legitimate entity, it seems. They also have, by the way, I'll search them on LinkedIn, Persona as a company. That's staffing and recruiting. This is the one, software development. Out of San Francisco. This is Persona. Right? They have a LinkedIn presence. They have between 200 and 500 employees worldwide, most of whom are based in San Francisco that you can see. All right? And they're putting out regular posts. They literally had one earlier today. So, and Ashley Fang and Patrick Hall and Charles Ye, who's one of the co-founders, are apparently, you know, publishing or appearing. So Persona actually seems to be a legitimate company. All right. Named a leader in Gartner Magic Quadrants. Like, they're not getting that stuff unless they're actually doing something and they are audited by some kind of a third party. So while people are freaking out about Substack necessarily hiring a company that may or may not have hired a reputable, you know, someone that's out of a Trellis office, you know, just a virtual desk space, it appears that that's not the case here. It appears that Persona is a more legitimate organization that has hundreds of employees, that's been around since 2018, and has what they advertise as configurable identity infrastructure for Know Your Customer, AML, KYB, fraud detection, onboarding, and more. They're an HR support software company. Right? So just a little bit more about Smile ID may or may not be legit. And we still have no idea who they're connected with and what they're doing with the data and the information that they're getting, how they're funded. Are they CIA connected? Is intelligence getting access to this stuff? Are they working with law enforcement to give them access to this facial recognition stuff? I don't know. I don't know. So, but I wanted to show you that I did do some digging, and do some digging on your own and let me know what you find, because I'm always open to learning more about this stuff. And I want to know if they're sharing this unified identity platform stuff with Israel, for example. Is the IDF able to tap into this? Because as I covered on Tuesday night, since they put age verification into the UK on December 17th, Ricky, Council of State Media, not sure if he was required to upload his information, but all of a sudden there were searches from Israel on his gamer tag and on his home address and on his son's first names and the schools that they went to. Like, is Persona connected to that by any chance? I don't know. I'm speculating. I will admit that I'm speculating. I'm not saying that they are. I'm asking. And I'm saying that it's possible that it's weird that since age verification went into place, Ricky did these searches and found that there have been coordinated searches out of both Israel and the UK on December 27th, 29th, and January 1st for specific search terms, including his home address. Really messed up. Proton is USA or NED funded. USAID or NED funded. I don't, again, not really sure, but not every single thing that is funded by USAID or NED is connected to intelligence necessarily. Sometimes they support things in order to hopefully at some point be able to have influence over it, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing something with it now. And I'm using LinkedIn, by the way. I also went to, if you go to their website, I think it's Get Persona about withpersona.com. All right. This is their website. All right. And they actually, you can look into who their people are. At one point, at least they showed who their leadership team was. That's all gone now, which is interesting. So if I go to about, all right, they work in public, people first, blah, blah, blah. So go through their website, see what you can find here. All right, because to me, it's just a lot of corpo speak. Who's Bobby? You know, meet Bobby. Here's one of the people, a former U.S. naval officer. That also, okay. So now you've got intelligence and and ex-military directly involved here. And these are only the people that they're showing you. But like I said, I have an advanced LinkedIn for my personal account. I have Sales Navigator that allows me to dig a little bit deeper and see who all the contacts are so that I could build a profile on them to target them as a potential customer. And they do seem like a legitimate organization with legitimate employees. All right. Tara. Let me see. What did Tara say? Tara Preda Wild. Let me see. Looking for it. That's over on Rumble. What do they say? Substack could just block access to that country, Australia. It creates public pressure within the country to rescind the law and saves them from penalties. Yes, that's another possibility that they could have done. I think that their owners did not want them to do that. I think that's what's going on there. You know, their hedge fund owners, I'm sure it was discussed as a possibility. Rumble exited the countries that were requiring further censorship and handing over of that information, like the UK and France. And they waited in Brazil. They waited till those countries caved and allowed them to operate. That's a great point. Excellent point. Thank you. Bobby looks like AI. Yeah, that's also a good point. Like this whole website could just be AI. But the thing that I found was when I went to Glassdoor and I found all these reviews of by employees. I don't want to enter my email or any of that. Let me search companies. No, I don't want to sign up, bastard. All right, you know what? Let's do it this way. And let's look up Persona Glassdoor reviews. I don't need to do that. Here, Persona reviews. Right, and it seemed, I think it's because of the browser I'm using, that I don't think this is the persona I'm talking about. I think this is the gaming company. Upper management needs to listen to its employees. Again, you find interesting stuff, but for the most part, if I remember correctly, they were actually like a best place to work. Persona, Glassdoor reviews, San Francisco, California. 4.8. Yep. I'm not agreeing to that crap. Screw you. No. But work environment and culture, Persona is praised for its supportive, people-first culture. Employees highlight the company's strong community feel with focus on collaboration and mutual respect. Start page. What about my start page? I don't know what that means. Start page, Indy. Are you looking at my start page? I don't know. But look into Persona and tell me what you think. Are they legit? Are you worried about them having your biometric ID? Because it looks like Substack is going to be using them to verify people's ID wherever required. I also wanted to note that Vanessa Beeley also pointed out that it seems to be targeted and that it did not happen to all creators where people were being required to view their content. I don't know, but she's saying that it's paid subscribers telling her it's happening. Could depend on the country. Paid can read without the new verification. No doubt, because they already hold the bank details. Just access the relevant article subscriptions tab. Only had this problem with your page, not on similar like Fiorella. Go support Vanessa Beeley. I'm actually a paid annual subscriber to vanessabeeley.substack.com, or thewallwillfall.org is her website. Right. Meant to protect kids from crap on social media, right? And you believe that. It's unfortunately, the reality is that they're using this as an excuse to be able to clamp down on the authoritarianism and eliminate anonymity. And this was predicted by Whitney Webb years ago. Somebody pointed out it was a World Economic Forum point to eliminate online anonymity. And that is a kind of a concern for me as a guy who's here online and anonymous. So got to be an EU-UK thing for now. But they're talking about doing that here now. It's already happening in certain states. Like Pornhub, I can tell you now, I don't use Pornhub. But people tell me that in order to be able in certain states to get on it, now Florida, you're blocked. You can't even get on it at all. But in other cases, you actually have to submit your biometric ID and prove that you are over the age of 18 in order to be able to enjoy the fruits of their site. There you go. Go start. November 21st, almost 10 million users had already completed the age check process. I don't know where that's coming from. So, what else is happening? Embedded tweets, ID, Rumble Wallet, and Rumble subscriptions being buried are the 4 things that I really had to bring tonight to everyone. And I also wanted to show people Bandcamp. You know, I was playing Jesse Jet music earlier in the pre-show music, but I never show really Jesse's Bandcamp site. This is where you can actually download all the music that he's put online the last 5 years for free. It's name your own price. You can leave a tip and pay money with a credit card, but you can actually pay $0 and still download the full MP4s completely for free. What he wants is for people to get the money, to get the music out, not the money out, to get the music out there and to listen and enjoy the music. All right. Yes. I don't use Pornhub, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Yes, that is. Porn and gambling are problematic on multiple levels. Just block them. Good point. Right? Come on, giving me a hard time here with the Pornhub thing. You know, we do have like single members of the chat that have apparently imbibed there. Again, I don't know what that looks like. Couldn't tell you. Seven Side likes Bandcamp. I do too. Bandcamp Fridays when they happen, and they did reinstate them. 100% of the proceeds go through to the creator. Last time there was a Bandcamp Friday, I bought 5 Jesse Jet albums for $5 a piece. So now I basically own the whole catalog or a good portion of it. But Live from the Black Site was the last album that he put out. Full audio, full music album. And the songs that I played tonight, I played Backwards from 5 and I played DSAI, are both on this album. And you could also do full lyrics here for all the songs as well. I encourage everyone to support Jesse over at jessejet.bandcamp.com. So I did want to showcase that, and I think it's pretty cool that they have this site so that people can upload music and allow their fans to download it for a name your own price, including free amount. Okay. Well, getting back to IndieNewsNow.com, if I go to refresh, notice that there's a whole new set of articles and stories at the top of the site, which pushes down the ones that were fresh at the top beforehand. Again, this is an ongoing I think this is where it started, 24/7 real-time updated website, completely ad-free, IndieNewsNow.com. By all means, please visit the site, bookmark the site, come back here all the time. And it's automatically, I think you have to refresh it yourself, just F5 to refresh the browser, and it'll refresh the content there automatically. If we are ever shut down by all of the platforms, on this site, you can click the watch live, and we will still be going live there. You can also pick up some sweet INN merch or indie merch or Angel Rivera merch or you name it. It's all here. We Deserve Better PsyOps is a t-shirt that came out of one of our live streams. Anna Mayers was asking for it, and I designed the thing, and there you go. So now you can pick up a We Deserve Better PsyOp t-shirt, tank top, or sweatshirt, hoodie sweatshirt as well. All that over, again, go to IndieNewsNow.com, click on the merch link. You'll be able to get there and see all the merch that we have available. Wintertime, get yourself a beanie. $19 for an INN beanie. I ordered one. I can't wait till it gets here. I'm like super pumped to see it. I'm just waiting for it. But look at all these hoodies. There's our Care Bear. Check out Colin Radish Carter Care Bear. $27 for a hoodie with this Care Bear icon on it. Come on. Where are you getting a hoodie for $27? Good deal. All right. I'm going to get out of here for tonight. Again, one more time, support independent media because we need it more than ever. The ways to do that for INN are Cash App, $ Indie News Network. co-fi.com/Indie News Network. At paypal.me/Indie News Network. At patreon.com/Indie News Network. At IndieNewsNow.com, like I just showed you. At INNnewsletter.com or IndieMediaToday.com. If you're so inclined on Substack and they're not age verification requiring you to pay, please really appreciate that as well. Yeah, Cash App is really the best way. There's no fees. co-fi.com, it's a minimal fee. PayPal, if you do it as friends and family, there's no fee there as well. Patreon, small fee. Again, we're trying to keep the fees down and keep the money that you're supporting us with in our pocket and out of the platform's pockets. And I'm a little white for Cash App. Yes, Cash App, $ Indie News Network. Yes, Cash App is a block-owned application that's mobile only, connects to your bank account, and the tags are have $signs in front of it. So it's $ Indie News Network. Any Natural Fabric? I'm not sure. You got to go through that. They're Big Frog stores. Ryan over at The Independent Review also has a merch store through Big Frog and a bunch of different portals. So he set one up for us at Indie News Shop. All right. Persona. Okay. Go Start. Identities, which is also the company that Roblox pairs up with, has multiple lawsuits against it and how they primarily use people's faces, information, and personal info for deep fakes. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. And okay, IndieNews shop. Somebody's asking me for a link to the shop. Well, sure. Here's a link to the shop. Here you go. And I'll put that in the chat so that everybody could pick up some merch if you'd like. But again, all you have to do is go to IndieNewsNow.com and you can get there by clicking on the merch link, which I'd almost rather you do, but I'll give it to the person that asked. So what else? Message me throughout the month or comment on some of the Substack stuff that I do on notes or on a post. Let me know what you think about these shows, about these AMAs, about what's going on in the tech world, about things that I may not be covering and should be. What are you seeing with the platforms? What makes you mad? What do you like? I don't want to necessarily just talk about negative stuff, but I want to talk about how you can actually, use this stuff to communicate with people. Go start search Persona on X, Persona Company. Awesome. Thank you. And that's what, again, I need your help in doing this. I can't necessarily get this all done on my own. And we rely on everybody for help. So we're going to cut out for tonight. I'm again trying to do this once a month. The plan is to have at least another one-on-one. I've been talking with a few different creators, from The Dissident to Robert Durden to The Last American Vagabond, Pasta Chardula, and a few others about doing one soon. We'll see who actually comes back to me and we can work out the schedule. I also am going to do probably another Nobody Wants to Work Anymore with Himbo later on this month. And then at the end of the month, we'll do an American Tradition with Jesse. That's going to be down to the last Thursday of every month. So the rest of this week, tomorrow night, we've got Angel in the afternoon at 7 o'clock. So definitely check out Angel. And then we've got Saturday night, they're back for Pro Wrestling Talk. Very excited to have them back. It's been a couple of weeks, and I know there's a lot to talk about at Pro Wrestling Talk over on the Ocho. Sunday over on the Ocho, we'll be Reef and I doing boats smashing into other boats. We do that every Sunday. I've decided that this Monday night, I'm going to do a Venezuela playlist live stream, which is like we were doing the Fuck Israel live streams, 12 days. This is a half dozen Venezuela segments that we had done in the second half of 2025, leading up to what's happening now, showing that we've been all over this stuff for quite a while. All right. Mona Carbone. Oh my God, Mona. Whoa. Oh my God. I love you. Hi, Mona. Welcome. And good to see you. And we miss you and we love you. And Happy New Year. And I'm so glad you came to hang out and say hi. And you again are still one of the people behind a lot of this, and we're still here. We're still doing this. But Mona was around and with us in year one when I was literally just building all of this, and I was still independent left news, and I hadn't even had a Discord yet, let alone a channel or a live stream or anything. Mona's been there from the very beginning, and she's like a sister to us, and I love her and just have nothing but the warmest feelings and wishes for her. And did Panquake ever happen? Well, sort of. They're still around, but I'll tell you that story offline. I think Fiorella may be working with them, for them, around them. They still have a link shortener that is like panquake.me. They're working allegedly on their Twitter replacement, which I've never seen a working prototype of. Everybody was very hopeful about Panquake, and I'd love to see something, but even John Kiriakou just left there recently and claimed that they don't have a product. So yeah, and you're awesome too. And some of the graphics that Richard Medhurst uses, Mona designed, and he's still using 5 years later because they're so fucking awesome. Again, Mona and I went through so much together in 2020 during lockdown, and she's like a sister to me, and I'm eternally grateful for her friendship and will be forever. So I just put a big smile on my face to see you come into chat. All right, Indie Land. Yes, I'm telling you all about Indie Land. So subscribe to all the stuff, INNnewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com, and you'll get links to everything else sent throughout the week, and you'll figure it all out from there. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. Support independent media because we need it more than ever, and I will see you soon, fam. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Goes, we won't open our eyes, so we're the last ones to know, we're the last ones alive.